Hey friends, welcome to Produce is People, the podcast with Nate Montgomery, the produce champion. I hope you enjoy the show. Make sure that you listen to it, make sure you share it, and make sure that you tell us what you think about it. Good morning, friends. Nate Montgomery, the produce champion. Welcome to this episode of Produce is People, where we talk about everything from how the field goes all the way to produce getting to your table, what we like to call farm to fork or soil to stomach. I don't know why I keep saying that. It kind of seems a little weird to say stomach, but anyway, that's what it is. Today, I'm really excited. I'm sitting in Portland, Oregon. I'm looking at a little personal garden of little tomatoes, some zucchinis, some things growing here, some cabbages. So it's kind of cool just how the personal gardening has taken off so much more in the last couple years, thanks to COVID primarily. But I have a guest. I have a friend here, Abe Venegas. He is with Wholesaleware. That is the software that I use for my company. And we just developed a really good relationship as we implemented the software. And I wanted him to come on and just share with us some thoughts about his views with the produce industry and what he has perhaps observed. So Abe, thanks for joining us. First of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Hey, good morning, Nate. No, thank you for inviting me. Yes, I appreciate, like you said, since we did the implementation, we have stayed in contact, and I follow your channel, look at your videos. I don't do all the social media, but I try to do the ones that I do.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I always try to end my my episodes, and I'll just say it here, with social media, like in produce, if you like it, share it. And my friends and people like yourself, you've done that, and I appreciate that. So just real quick, in the past, if somebody wanted to sell produce, you have to have some way of invoicing and tracking shipments and purchase orders and all of that. And so larger companies buy this huge behemoth of a software, and it's pretty expensive, and it was almost cost prohibitive for some. And then you guys have kind of democratized that in a way with this ERP. Is that did I use it right?
That is correct.
And I had never even heard of the term until I met a person. And the person I met was your coworker, Brian Barsness, and he showed me, and I'm like, wow, this is phenomenal. And so it helps people like me all the way up to people that are, companies that are large. So I'm really appreciative of that. In the process, I got to know you. You helped me implement, and you had some really great advice about watch out for this, don't do that. Don't get lost in the weeds over here. So I thought we'd just bring you on. Let's talk a little bit about produce. First of all, what is your favorite fruit, and what's your favorite veg?
Wow, my favorite fruit, watermelon.
Yeah,
I love watermelon.
Watermelon, it's a food, and you get to wash your face with it all at the same time.
Yes. You know what? And I had this weekend. I know that I'm going a little bit out of your question here, but this weekend I was with a melon grower from West California, from the Mendota, Dos Palos area. And he gave me a little watermelon that the inside was yellow.
Yeah.
I never had this before. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. The taste, the
how was it?
The texture, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. I love it when you find something new, a new variety or a new flavor profile. I'm always trying new stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's your favorite fruit. How about veg?
Vegetables, I love asparagus. I like asparagus. I like them grilled. I like them boiled. I like them steamed. I love asparagus.
You like almost like green eggs and ham, right? You like them anyway. That's awesome. That's great.
You can eat them anywhere.
Yeah.
Growing up, my dad was asparagus grower, so
there you go.
Believe me, at my house, we made it in soup. We made it in every way that you can imagine.
Yeah, you probably wake up with asparagus in bed with you there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Abe. You grew up in Mexico, is that right?
That is correct, Nick. So I grew up in Caborca, Sonora, which is just down by Arizona. I'm about 3 hours from Phoenix. Uh, Grew up, like I said, my dad was a grower. We grew up back and forward in between Tucson, Arizona, and Mexico during my early life, and moved up for college with the United States and never went back. Now I'm in Fresno, California, where I started working, like you said, in the systems that help the produce industry. I've worked through different systems and different companies. Now I'm here at Wholesale where yeah, we became a little bit more of a accessible to more people system to allow them to track, to buy, sell, to have a system so that they don't have to be using Excel, right? Or pen and paper.
Yeah. And with more and more, all the certifications and all that other stuff, you really need a place that you can kind of put everything that's not just a hard copy and track that and trace it. And so that's been helpful too.
Correct. And like you said, like right now, like if we see it from the customer perspective, right? Me as a customer, I want to make sure that I'm getting something good, right? So when you're able to track that farm to fork or soil to stomach, like you said, that pressure, right?
We're not certifying mouths yet, so the certification has to end somewhere.
There you go. So it is just a way that you can track that, right? That if I'm buying organic product, am I really getting organic product?
Yeah.
If I'm buying fair to trade, am I getting fair to trade, right?
Yeah.
So that is what we do, right? To make sure that once that it hits the fork, you can trace it all the way back to where it grew.
Yeah. So you've talked to all kinds of people. You've talked to growers, you've talked to importers, you've talked to traders, brokers, shippers, receivers. Tell me some of the common denominators that you see are challenges, and maybe some of the things that you say, how to overcome those, if maybe as you have observed.
Definitely. So some of the challenges, I mean, probably for everybody from the distribution side to the grower, and even the consumer, is the market changes, right? You never know how the market is going to be. The beginning of the season, I don't know, let's use grapes for an example, can be a great price that the growers are expecting a great return. And then all of a sudden the price drops, which is great for the consumer.
Right.
Sometimes. Because sometimes the consumer still pays expensive price, but the middleman or the store in this place keeps those profits, right?
Yeah.
So that denominator of never knowing what you're going to expect is unfortunately something that you cannot control as any of the person in produce, right?
Yeah.
But maybe can prepare for it a little bit better by having good systems, by having and sometimes not even system, by having a good mind in place, right? Being prepared, being ready.
Yeah. I wish that there was a way that we could communicate better. Let me change that. It's not I wish we need to do a better job of communicating with consumers, because what happens is, we live in a world where everything's planned out, right? And so for a retail store to do their job well for their shareholders, they need to plan things out in 2-3 weeks. Sometimes it's 6 months in advance. But in that time period, something can go change radically, and then the consumer is, oh well, that's too expensive, so I won't buy. And by voting with their dollars, they don't buy, and then they take a problem and they make it worse. Or when there's a discount at the store, that should be the time they say, I load up on that. and sometimes they don't. And it would be great if we could say, by you doing this, you're helping this family here and that family there and that family there, all the way through the process, and you're helping them just like you need help. So I wish we did a better job of that. And
I know, and it's hard. And that's a great example. And I know this happened because of the pandemic, but I live in the Central Valley, right, in California, and I live out in the country, so I live around farms.
yeah,
And during COVID, it was very sad to see, for example, lettuce fields,
oh
like at the beginning of COVID, right, like that March of 2020,
yeah,
uh, fields getting this
yeah,
prior to harvesting,
yeah,
just so they didn't have to harvest. And people are like, "Oh, the grower has plenty of money; they're not gonna suffer, or they have insurance."
right,
Okay, maybe they do. Maybe the grower is fine. But what about the 300 people that he employed for
right,
those 4 months during harvest?
yeah.
What about the truckers that move that produce from place to place? What about the store? Like, it just
Yeah, every step of
such
the way.
a long line of people that get affected.
Yeah, every step of the way. And I in the industry, right? We sit around and we kind of browbeat people, and we, oh, woe is me, or we complain. But really, that hard negative, it's their fault kind of attitude, I don't find that helpful. And so that's one of the reasons that I do what I do here with these, is so that we communicate better with consumers. We communicate better with, but it's an area that I want to grow more in. But having said all of that, the piece that you're involved with is a really important piece, because you're making things more efficient. You're helping growers that can see where their money's going, and
Mhm.
the same for different people through the process there. Have you noticed any stories or any observations that you say, man, this is a really positive thing that is happening in the industry?
Efficiency, right? Efficiency and traceability, right? The different traceabilities that they have came into play in the industry, just in general, right? Especially with like the produce that for the consumer is a little bit more dangerous, right? Let's say leafy greens, right?
Yeah,
Spinach, lettuce, any of the greens. The growers have very hard time dealing with different recalls, right? E. coli, salmonella. I don't know exactly what is the different ones that get affected, but I feel that every year we see one big recall,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And those can be, I mean, they can break a company
yeah,
definitely, to have to recall from every store. So to be able to have a traceability in place, that the grower can say, "Oh, everything from this field was affected. I'm gonna recall just that," is super beneficial for the grower, but for the consumer alike, right? The
yeah,
consumer knowing
yeah,
that the grower has that traceability almost can almost give you a peace of mind, right? It almost give you a little bit more of an ease, that you know that somebody cares about what you're eating.
right. That the effort is being put in there to protect. There's,
Correct.
there's not somebody going, ha, ha, ha,
Yeah.
there's people working really hard to make sure that things are done right.
From the top to the bottom, right? Everybody's trying. I mean, like I said before, I sit here and I see the crews harvest the eggplants next to my house,
Oh
and
yeah,
it comes from the grower, from, I'm sorry, from the field worker, right?
uh-huh.
The field worker making sure that they use the correct place to go to the bathroom, that they wash their hands, that they, right? So it comes from the little guy doing the job at that field, all the way to the packing house,
Yeah,
that the trucks are clean, right? Everybody has to care.
yeah, yeah. That's great. One of the things, I mean, me, produce is people. I believe in keeping in mind all of the different hands that touch the produce as it comes from the field to the consumer. And so that's a huge part of it. But I also find that I've learned many life lessons from produce. I had a rough week last week. A couple of things went wrong, and I was pretty down and discouraged. And I looked out, and my neighbors have a apple orchard, and I looked at those trees, and they're producing apples. They were actually being harvested, and the thought crossed my mind that those trees, they just do what they do, and if they get cut or if they get hurt or so they just do what they do. And so I looked in the mirror and said, Nate, you got to do what you do and keep going. Have you seen any life lessons like that you would share with somebody, or have you ever thought of something that happens in the field that you say, oh, that can happen in my life or in someone's life?
Yes, definitely. A little question that you don't think too often, right? Of comparing yourself to produce or the produce industry. But yeah, like you said, produce is people, and we can grab an example of everything. So again, I feel that I'm talking a lot about eggplants here next to me, but
maybe it's become your favorite.
I know I need to start eating it more. But yes, on how everything requires time to grow or time to heal, right? Here, the eggplants next to me, they harvest about 6 weeks ago, 5 to 6 weeks ago. After they were done harvesting, they came and chopped the top of the plant off.
Just mowed it down?
Mowed it down.
Huh.
And I'm like, why did they not disc it? It's creating mosquitoes. It's creating a lot of little gnats around the air and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was almost upset. I'm like, why did they not just finish the job?
Yeah. 4
weeks down the road, the plant is ready to be harvested again. And yesterday, the crews were in and started harvesting eggplant. So it's something that I didn't know about eggplant. I didn't know that you could harvest it twice. I didn't know that you had to chop it off. But how allowing those 4 weeks for the plant to mature again after it had been chopped out and is ready to go again. Sometimes we need to give ourselves times to grow, right? Time to get out of that hole or that time that we are at to allow us some growth.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. Sometimes we think that life's trajectory is just in the straight line up like this, and no, there's ups and downs and so sometimes we got to take those valley moments or those low times and kind of regain energy and hit it again.
And sometimes they're needed, right? Sometimes we need those down times to be able to get up higher.
Yeah, that's great. That was a great one. Well, I appreciate your time. As you know, we try to keep these episodes short. Ain't nobody got time for 3-hour episodes. So folks, if you're watching, if you're listening, we really appreciate you joining us. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn and TikTok. And I always joke, and one of these days somebody's going to take me up on it. But one of our guests is going to end up doing a little dance on TikTok. But I don't think Abe's signed up for that yet.
I don't think that you'll get me.
So please like and share. Hopefully you found this to be beneficial for you, whether it's a life lesson or whether it's a little bit of understanding for the industry. And we really appreciate you being here. I always say, like I said earlier, in social media, as in produce, if you like it, share it. So do me a favor and click that like. Share it with your friends, comment, and we look forward to meeting with you the next episode. You have a great day. Thanks, Abe.
Thank you, Nate.
So that's the show, folks. Make sure that you like it, make sure that you share it, and follow us on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. We're in all the socials, even on YouTube. Make sure you follow us, share it, and like it.